Hello, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining us here on Global Morning. This is Global Television. We're live in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. It's midweek already. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe saying it's a delight to know that we have conquered the first half of the week together. And again, as a team, let's begin the start of the final part of the week. I know Juma Manson, who is on the program for the first time this week, is also wondering, how did it happen that we're here already?
Yes, exactly.
Quite early time. They say, things are moving at the speed of light now.
Yes, it is.
It's Wednesday already. Good to see you, Juma.
It's great to see you, Uyi, and it's great to be here. Good morning.
Last time we talked here was Easter. That was Good Friday, wasn't it?
Was it Good Friday?
No, okay, that was Priscilla. It was Wednesday, right?
Wednesday, yes.
So it's been a week.
It's been a week. Yeah, it's great.
How's it been?
Fine, Uyi. It's great to be on the program Global Morning. It's great to do this with you side by side.
The pleasure, as I say, is always mine.
Oh, and my manners. Good morning to each and every one of you out there. It's great to be here, and it's Global Morning.
I'm
with Uyi Agbomofwebe, the guy with the nice glasses.
Thank you.
No flattery, Uyi.
Oh, wow. That's so organic.
No flattery at all.
Well, it's a Wednesday already, and we hear that doctors have now changed their minds.
Yes, they have.
So to speak, about the strike, which, of course, the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors had proposed to start yesterday. But it appears the government stepped in at the nick of time.
Yes, they did.
We may say, well, that action could have happened earlier.
Yes.
But they say better late than never. All right. But the question now will be, it is one thing for you to say you're halting industrial action or proposed industrial action. Is it not another thing altogether to ask, have we resolved the challenges that led to that decision to go on strike in the first instance?
Exactly.
Because we're not just talking about a section of the health sector or health workers. We're talking about an entire sector.
Yes, we are. And like I said, health is a very sensitive area when it comes to talking about this issue. It has to do with you and I. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter where you're from. Health is key. And we need these doctors. And we know from the Pigeon Palace, a lot of doctors, medical practitioners, individuals who are in the health sector have, in that word, in the Pigeon Palace, they have jackpot. And the ones that are here, and yet we do not give them what they're asking of, which are unpaid allowances and all of that. But I'm glad there's been a dialogue. It would have been really bad, because I was speaking to someone yesterday and he said, okay, the reason why we're not out of this because there's still dialogue ongoing. And I'm glad that so far so good. They've decided to halt their strike because really it would have been detrimental to individuals in hospitals. You know how it is, but I am glad that there has been a roundtable discussion and with all units involved. And I think they're good to go to halt the strike. It shows that there is a right step in the right directions and things are going on well. Hopefully we don't go back to this because I said this before, we keep going back and forth when it comes to this matter. Not just health, education, we go back and forth. When it comes to fuel, we go back up. Transportation, we go back and forth. But there's some key areas. I'm not saying one particular sector is greater than another. They're all important. They all serves as basic amenities for you and I on a daily. But at the same time, there's some we have to throw that heavy weight on, prioritize, because it's very detrimental. It's very sensitive. But at the same time, we go back and forth. And I hope this is the final stake where everyone is happy when it comes to this particular issue of resident doctor, the health sector concentrating on that.
For me, I think the concern really is, we keep talking about best practices, international best practices.
Yes.
When it has to do with whether it's health, whether it's banking, whether it's even oil and gas, for example. Across sectors, best practices, including in things like customs and issues around excise and what have you. And then I'm wondering, why are we not seeing in very practical terms international best practices when it comes to the welfare of health workers across board and then the health system in itself? I'm asking myself as well, in what specific ways do we incentivize health professionals to continue to stay back at home and, if you like, have that sense of belonging, own the sector? Because people would naturally find it easy to detach themselves from something in which they believe strongly they have no stake.
Exactly.
If you know your stake is in it, it's going to be very difficult for you to just pick up your bag one morning and dash off, right? So yesterday I was having this lunchtime conversation with a few persons, and one person jokingly said, it may not even be a joke, but was sharing a story from somewhere about how that a couple had resolved between themselves. So say, look, let's strike a deal. This is not a prenup of any kind anyway, but it's an understanding of some kind to say, let's have an arrangement in such a way that we will have a common pool of funds. So you and I will be putting our money there. It's not a joint account.
Okay, I was going to say,
No, it's not a joint account. Of course, the issue of joint accounts is, it just varies from one person to another. All right, so we put our monies, you and I, in this pool. Can I agree to say we put XYZ amount of money every week or every month, as the case may be, in such a way that if anybody wakes up and says, I want a divorce, the other person gets all the money. So if Mr. A is married to Mrs. B, Mr. A wakes up one morning and says he wants a divorce, Mrs. B gets all the money.
Okay.
And conversely, if Mrs. B is the one who moves for a divorce, Mr. A gets all the money.
Okay.
And that's how they stayed together for decades. I don't know if we should use that as a parallel or a universal standard to say couples should do that real time in real life just so they can stay together. But the lesson I got from that really, because the whole time I didn't contribute to it, I didn't say a word, but I realized that it just reinforces that philosophy, that natural principle, that people are likely, very likely going to stay with something that they have a stake in. For example, why would a mother go all out, all right, stay up all night for their child when they are ill, when they need to breastfeed? Because they realize that this is my child. In fact, this is a part of me. All right, so they have a stake in it. They go nowhere. That child must be catered to. That child must be fended for. So when you narrow that down to the health sector, you're wondering, what can the average doctor, let's not use the word average, let's say typical medical doctor,
yes,
or a lab scientist, or say a nurse, look at in Nigeria, across the healthcare space and say, this is one reason I want to remain here. For many of them, it's just a case of, okay, well, I'm not able to move with my spouse or my children at this point, so let me stay for another 1 year, for another 2 years.
Yes.
Or I have aged parents, I need to look after them, I'm the breadwinner, I'm the eldest of my siblings. If we were to remove those elements, what exactly, career-wise, professionally, on the job, are they getting to say, this is one reason I'm going to stay on for another 3, 5, or 10 years, or I'm going to stay here and I go nowhere?
Well, basically, well, anyway, I'm not a medical doctor, so it would have been better if a medical doctor was here to answer. But I have my brother, Nuruddin Ibrahim, is a medical doctor, but abroad. But at the same time, when you look at all of that, some of them do not. There's not. This is the only thing that they know. Maybe that's one of the reasons why this is all that I know. I do not know how to diversify into another career path, or I do not know how I'm going to start. This is what I know. This is my life. This is my life. I am passionate about this. That is why I will stay here, because I believe in this cause. Some of them are just patriotic. That's one of the stakes. They love Nigeria. Some will tell you, what other chances do I have? When you hear stories, it's just some that are very lucky to be abroad and to actually practice this medical profession. Some are very lucky. Some, you hear consultants who are doing jobs who are minor jobs, and you'll be shocked. So maybe the pride that comes along with it, I'm a medical doctor, and you see yourself as a dishwasher abroad or something. But at the same time, here in Nigeria, I do not know. I think most of the doctors are exhausted. When I speak to some doctors who are passionate, but because that's the thing. One of my boss said something to me. He said, Juma, you might be passionate about something. That's his own opinion. But if you do not have financial backings to back that passion begins to dwindle down, and you cannot give your best. Because when you look back and look at all the things that you have, the responsibilities behind you, you look at house rent, you look, like you mentioned, parents, you look at this, you look at that, and you cannot cater for these individuals. That passion begins to dwindle, and you can't put in your best in that. So basically, some of them go through all of that, and sometimes there's no stake at all. And that's me, that's Jumai saying it as a broadcast journalist. But I think a lot of doctors are exhausted, and they cannot tell you, hold on to something and say, the reason why I'm still neck deep into this is because I have this and this and this that I'm holding on to. I don't think they can tell you.
That makes it very interesting and at the same time very complicated.
Not emotional though.
No, it is, because it's life and death.
Emotional.
I'll tell you what the angles are for me. First of all, you look at the fact that these are guys, I mean, all of them, beyond the doctors even.
And girls.
All right? They go, yes, of course. They go all the way to look out for people, even when it's not convenient for them. I cited an example yesterday with Priscilla and I on the show. And they also realize that these health professionals are people's children. They are people's parents. So they are dragged on both sides.
Yes,
they have to deliver on the family front. And then, of course, they can't afford to drop the bar when it comes to the job because their lives, I mean, their jobs have to do directly with human life. So
yes, very sensitive.
Yes, it's a tough place to be in,
yes, it is.
Especially with this kind of system that we have. But we hope it doesn't become a culture, because that's where we are today, incidentally and sadly so, that it is always at that point when professionals are on the verge of an industrial action, you call them to the table to say, can we not have a conversation about this? What is the Ministry of Health looking at right now? What is the federal government looking at right now and identifying as the teething problems or the challenges in the health sector that must be dealt with in such a way that government is one step ahead of the sector, in such a way that the government does not need any section of the sector, the health sector that is, to move for an industrial action before it starts thinking, not even doing what it ought to do in the first instance. Well, we'll be looking at a bit of that this morning, but more importantly, we'll be looking at administration, right? Good governance. I think we've been talking politics so much, especially in light of the 2027 general election cycle, that we've not really taken out a substantial amount of time to also x-ray the impact of the Renewed Hope agenda that's being championed by the Tinubu-led administration. That's a fulcrum of our conversation and engagement on the program this morning. So much more loaded into it, and we'll unpack it for you shortly. Stay with us. After every election cycle, citizens, both those who voted and those who didn't, look forward to a government at the national and sub-national levels that will deliver the goods. Therefore, at that point in time, it's not so much about who got what number of votes at the polls, as it is focused on, well, who is delivering the dividends of democracy. And that's a problem. The issue, the talk, the narratives and rhetorics around dividends of democracy have been very disturbing and at the same time controversial. As of today, for instance, by what metrics do you measure a government that is delivering dividends of democracy? A governor fixes a road or makes a new one, there's hula balu around it on the media. A lawmaker, whether at the state or federal level, sinks a borehole, he puts his name on it.
Yes.
All right, so everybody's singing and dancing and things like that. So there's this palpable blur between what is expected and what is possible for public officers, especially those who have been elected to do, and what they are actually doing for the people in real terms.
Yeah, funny enough, you mentioned that. You know, I've always said it on this program, that sometimes we do not know our TOR terms of reference, whether it's high up there or even in the lower class.
Is it like they don't know, or they act as though they do not know?
No. I think when you look at it, because it plays the same way, you see a governor who does this and that and seems that, oh, he's working, not understanding that that is what you're supposed to do. That was why we voted you in the first place. It's not the kudos that you get when you give us good schools or the health facilities in check and all of that. Hello, that is part of your job. That's part of that's why we decided to vote you into power. I think sometimes we do not really understand, and there is a mix-up somewhere. You know, there was something that happened in a friend of mine in church. So the pastor called out this particular individual and said, okay, he's coming out for second term. Let us pray for this particular family to see, let their second term, you understand. And then the next is someone says, but what has he done? Really, what has he done for individuals who are around, the closest to you? So I think we need to understand that, and we need to differentiate between what is expected of you and what you ought to do to give you that kudos of democracy, like you've mentioned. What impact have you made I know you're supposed to, infrastructure is very important. You have to ensure that roads are accessible. You have to ensure that there's good healthcare in that particular terrain in which you're in. That is what comes with the package. But what impact have you made to reduce poverty in the lives of the individuals who are under you?
Right.
What have you done when it comes to employment opportunities? That's something that affects me directly. That affects me too, but something that comes close to home, something that I will benefit from as an individual. So I think once we understand the two, it will make things easier and accessible. It will make it more transparent, and then accountability. You can put your thumb on it and say, this individual has done both ways in pushing forth the font of democracy.
Well, I think that's a good way to put it. Incidentally, we're joined by a gentleman this morning who is a very senior member of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, to help our viewers understand the metrics by which we determine what the Renewed Hope agenda has achieved for Nigerians under the leadership and, of course, presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu since May 1st, 2023. We're taking a break. Ramsey Enoch Agbo is not tired. As a matter of fact, is all pumped to bring you heart-to-heart inspirational.
Well, my name is Ramsey Enoch, and it's good to have you join us today on Heart to Heart Inspirationals. And let's get you inspired because we value you. You are very important. You mean so much to this generation. Do you know why? Because if anything happens to you on this journey of destiny, it means something has gone wrong with a generation because you are a potential destiny helper. But then, what step are you taking? All right? Where are you? What are you doing? My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Small steps still move forward. We love big breakthrough. A lot of people want to be big men overnight. They just wake up overnight and they want to be big men, not knowing what it takes to be a big man, to be a big woman. Breakthroughs are things that we are supposed to enjoy, but then, does it just fall from heaven? No. One thing we need to understand is that there are things we need to do to really be successful in life. How much work are you putting into yourself? We need to know that life has so much for us. The truth is this: we love big breakthrough, yeah, that's true, but we underestimate small obedience. Small obedience. And that's the reason you see a lot of people make resolutions and they don't keep to it. You see a lot of people do their to-do list for the day and they are not keeping it. Discipline and obedience to small things. You know, little foxes that destroy the vine. You may think those things are small, they don't matter. But then it makes you accelerate. It makes you move forward in life. We celebrate overnight success, but ignore daily discipline. How many people are disciplined today? Even CEOs, they are not disciplined today. A lot of people are not disciplined today. Business owners are not disciplined today. A lot of people have eaten their capitals. Yes, a lot of people. I know of people who ate their capitals. Some even went into debt. These are people that were making millions. I know. I'm not talking abstract. These are people that I know. Where are they today? What happened? Discipline. I've even walked to someone before to say, hey, come on. Do you know what? I know it's your business. I know it's your company. I know you are in charge. But then, instead of just putting your hand into the business money and taking out of it every day, place yourself on salary. Be a salary earner. Let the business pay you. Oversee it. Let it pay you. You don't just wake up. without discipline. Oh, you have a need, bam. Accountant, yes, sign this check. No, it's not done. Discipline is very important if you want to be successful in life, if you want to make progress in life. Discipline is very important, not just discipline alone. Obedience and discipline go hand in hand, all right? You need to be obedient, all right, and you need to be disciplined. Yet, I want to let you know that nothing great happens suddenly. It happens consistently. Consistency is key. Whatever you're doing. Okay, let me give you an instance. Why do you think anywhere you go to look for a job, whatever you want to do, people look for someone who have experience? Because the more consistent you are on a particular thing, the more professional you become. But a lot of people, because of the issue of diversification, multiple sources of income and all of that, these theories have made a lot of people not to concentrate on a particular thing, not to be consistent in doing one thing and become a professional in it. A lot of people are slaving today because they were not consistent in what they were doing. A lot of people are not employable today because of inconsistency, disobedience, and indiscipline. Three major issues: indiscipline, disobedience, and inconsistency. These are thieves of time. Progress, like they said, is not always loud. It's not loud. Sometimes it looks like getting up again. Sometimes it looks like staying committed, all right, when nobody is clapping. A lot of people. That's why, initially I talked about on Heart to Heart, before I've talked about social media. Everybody want to be clapped for these days. Everybody is going on social media to live a fake life because they want to be clapped for. Oh, of what profit is it? It's deception. You're deceiving yourself. I only pity people who copy this online so-called designed people who design themselves to be what they are not. People must not clap for you all the time. Don't wait for the clapping. Don't wait for people to clap for you. Sometimes when walking towards your successful days may not require people clapping for you, or sometimes growth feels boring because when it gets, people don't like work. That's the truth. A lot of people don't like work. So sometimes when you're walking, it looks boring. When you are striving to be successful in life, sometimes it looks boring because it's just like you're driving on the road and it's only you on that road. You're going, no car is coming from behind, no one is overtaking you. You're just going, only you. Sometimes it looks boring. But boring is where mastery is built. Do not despise small beginnings. Small steps compounds. Small habits accumulate, and of course, small disciplines create massive outcome. Just be consistent in it. Every expert you see today was once a beginner who refused to stop because so many things happen to stop them. When you're starting a business from the scratch, it is very difficult. If you are not consistent, disciplined, and obedient, you run away. Yes, of course. That period, that growing, that incubation period, if you're not careful, you run away. A lot of people have run away from businesses like that. Then when other people start doing it, enduring that boring moment, that lonely moment, then when they come out successful, they say, well, why did I even leave that business? Because you were not consistent, disciplined, and of course obedient to the rules of the game. Success have a rule. It has a rule. Yes, you need to abide by the rules of the game before you become successful. Breakthrough don't just happen overnight. That kind of breakthrough that you're looking for doesn't last. Yes, a dribbling tap can fill a bucket over time. Don't you know? Provided there is consistency, it's dripping. Pim. All right, let me give an instance. For instance, you get to the hospital and they give someone drip, all right? There is drip on a patient in the hospital. You see the way it drops, pim. It will appear as if it's never going to get finished. But just give it a time. That drip will finish. Everything will finish into the patient's body. But it's dripping. It takes patience. All right. Not because the drops are big, but because they are consistent. It's dropping. Because of the consistency, whatever you're doing, please ensure to be consistent. If you really want to make it, if you really want to succeed, focus on the progress, not the perfection. Celebrate effort, not just outcomes. Show up when motivation is low. You might not see. Let me tell you something. A lot of people don't celebrate upcomings. That period where you are struggling to be successful, when you're struggling to grow, a lot of people just look at the ignore. Some will not even take you serious. And that's why you need to be careful the kind of relationship you keep. I pity for people who push aside people that were with them when they were in their incubation period, when they were trying to become successful in life, the people that encourage them. Somebody may not even give you all the money, but the encouragement coming is enough. Consistency turns into ordinary actions into extraordinary results. Yes, by the time you're consistent, it turns ordinary action into extraordinary results. All right, keep going. Small steps taken daily will carry you further than big intentions that was never acted upon. A lot of people have big dreams, but they never acted on it. Where are they today? They are nowhere to be found. Well, you need to dream big and you need to act on the big dream, no matter how small, on a daily basis. Be consistent, be obedient, and of course, what else? Be faithful to whatever it is you're doing. Many thanks. I'll come on your way again. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Bye-bye for now.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Right now.
Welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning on Global Television. Hope you enjoyed that segment, Heart to Heart Inspirational with Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Hope you were well inspired. And about this time is the newspaper review segment, and we're going to start with the first paper of the day. It's the Punch newspaper, giving us some very punchy headlines. And above the nameplate on page 14, it says here, doctors end strike, hospitals reopen. And then, of course, next on page 8, it says, oil shock, World Bank predicts 3.1 point inflation rise for Nigeria. And beside the nameplate of the Punch newspaper, it says, 5 terrorists jailed, FG expedites 500 suspects trial, and that you will find on page 18. Now, the Star story on the Punch says 2027 battle, ADC crisis worsens as fraction claims control. Mark-led ADC insists on convention, aggrieved chieftains announce caretaker committee, and that's the rider there. Now, below all of that, it says, NCC orders telcos to compensate subscribers. Okay. And then it says here, it says police arrest Lagos robbers, recover 14 guns. And the last on the foot of the Punch newspaper says, Tinubu visit Lagos, announces partial road closure. And those are the major headlines on the Punch newspaper. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the issues making rounds. Next, we have the Daily Trust. Over to you, Wayne.
Thank you. All right, top right of the Daily Trust newspaper says, bandits kill Abuja businessman daughter despite 12 million naira ransom payments. I mean, can be any more bleak than this. A man's life taken, same for his daughter, even behind the payment of 12 million naira ransom payments. Quite a sad story there, right? That's top right corner of the Daily Trust newspaper. Boko Haram suppliers jailed as federal government begins trial of terror suspects. Rainstorm destroys multi-million naira bus terminal in FCT. We understand that's along the Yanya Karu Road. Yesterday we had that in our news.
It was terrible.
And then we have the Star headline as well for you. It says, Nigeria on the brink of collapse. That's attributed to civil society organizations. Two writers with it: flay killings, abductions, rising poverty. Ask government to protect democracy from hijack, rebuild trust in judiciary. Not so much on the front page of the Daily Trust this morning, but let's make the most of what we have by ensuring we read up details for ourselves. Okay, next point of call is the Daily Sun newspaper.
All right, now the Daily Sun newspaper on page 29, it says, ex-South, ex-governors back to Tinubu. And the Star story on the Daily Sun says, FG begins mass trial of terrorists, over 227 persecuted by 10 judges. And that's on page 4. Now, below that, it says 2027, stakeholders back ex-Nasini EVC as next. And then it says here, just killings, angry women halt mass burial. Angry women halt mass burial. Unfortunate incident that happened in Jos, the Rukoba, north central of Jos. Very sad there. And we pray peace comes back to Jos immediately. And here it says, Zenith Bank posts 1.26 trillion naira shareholders to receive 109% increase. And it says here 2027, heaven won't fail if PDP, ADC don't field candidates. And that's from the Lagos APC. Now, please go out and get yourself a copy of the Daily Sun to be well abreast with issues making rounds. Next, we have Business Day.
All right. I just sent beneath the nameplates, we have a big story, a headline there. It says Nigeria's revenue boom masks a leak as deductions swallow 39%. All right. Then one more says Nigeria regains frontier markets. All right. In fresh boosts, there's in stocks. All right. And then rising insecurity threatens rural. Let me see, is that Doyle's in quite a number of places there, including Borno, Plateau, and Zamfara and Benue. Those are hotspots right now. It's almost impossible for you to read the news at least once in a week and not see these places pop up. as regards the insecurity challenge we're dealing with in our country. Again, that's a wrap on the Business Day newspaper for you this morning. Juma will walk us through the handful of headlines on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper.
All right, on the Vanguard newspaper, we do not have so many stories there, but at the side of the nameplate on page 9, it says PDP chieftain Benga Hashim resigns from party as reconciliation effort collapses. And basically, you have to find out what that is all about. And then the Star story reads, ADC crisis deepens as third fraction emerges. And that's on page 5. So go out and get yourself a copy of the Vanguard newspaper. And up at the top corner of the Vanguard before the nameplate, it says poverty remains high, 40% of children stunted in Nigeria, and that's from the World Bank, and that's on page 16. And if you're wondering why 40% of children are stunted in Nigeria, it's due to poverty and, of course, bad nutrition when it comes to food. But you have to go get yourself a copy and be well abreast of issues making rounds once you go out and get yourself a copy of the Vanguard. Next is This Day.
All right, let's take a quick look at this day newspaper for you. The very top of it, just immediately above the nameplate of This Day newspaper, it says NNPC confirms launch of Carthon crude into global markets. All right. And then, adjacent the pictures of a few governors here. This Day newspaper, all right, here it talks about how that Trump backs down on threats to destroy Iran, agrees 2-week ceasefire. But then a former president of Iran says beyond ceasefire, we need an outright end to the war, which of course is commonsensical. And then the Star headline says, World Bank to Nigeria, save oil windfall for rainy day, rebuild fiscal buffers. Apparently it would be a shame if after all of these advice, Nigeria still eventually drops the ball. Because this windfall from oil, occasioned by the conflicts in the Gulf region of the world, must account for something in our development, all right? And then we have quite a number of riders there with it, about half a dozen riders with that headline. Please be sure to look at them. The first one here says, urges federal government to restore PMS competition, reopen imports, reduce price. Raises alarm over child development crisis, says 110 out of 1,000 Nigerian children die from age 5. All right, those are your headlines from This Day newspaper this morning. Please, for context and perspective, read up those details. Incidentally, the Nigerian Tribune is particularly loaded with headlines this morning, and Jumai will do an amazing work of walking us through it.
All right, and then of course the Nigerian Tribune above the nameplate, it says ADC crisis deepens as new caretaker leadership emerges, and that's on page 13 on the Nigerian Tribune. And on page 3 it says CSOs decry deepening insecurity, rising poverty, say Nigeria at the brink of collapse, and that's the writer there. And still on page 13, it says, Obi seeks clarity on 10.6 trillion naira approved for power sector debt in 2 years. And the Star story of the Nigerian Tribune says, trial of 500 terrorism suspects begins in Abuja. And the writer says 227 suspects already in court sentences for to various jail terms. The next writer says trial to last 1 week. And on page 27 on the Nigerian Tribune, it says Trump during threat to Iran. And on page 3, on business performances, and that's from the NESG BCM. And the health column says daily aspirin may do more harm than good for cancer prevention. And that's the report from the health desk on the Nigerian Tribune. And then on page 14, it says Plateau killings, angry women, youths protest, obstruct mass burial of victims. Very sad there. And the next writer on it says death toll rises to 33. And on page 23, it says 2027 adoption of consensus candidate triggers controversy in Oyo APC. And on page 4, it says Olubadan inaugurates Ibadan Community Security Guards. And that's on page 4. And those are the major headlines on the Nigerian Tribune. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast with the issues making rounds. Next, we have the Daily Times. Over to you, Lee.
Thank you. Above the name as first here with a picture of the controversial Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. Abuja building collapse. Wike orders arrests of owner, revokes land allocation. CBN foreign exchange reform to unlock upstream investments, boost oil sector inflows. That's according to experts. And then the big headline reads, heavy security as federal government begins trial of 500 terrorist suspects in Abuja. I'll let the trial begin already. NARD suspends nationwide strike. Resident doctors resume work today. That directive was issued by the leadership of the association yesterday. 2027, former Southeast governors endorsed Tinubu for re-election. That's the much we have on the front page of the Daily Times newspaper this morning. Let's move you now to the Nation newspaper.
All right, now the Nation newspaper, above the nameplate, it says here, Forum of ex-Southeast Governors rally support for Tinubu, and that's on page 3. And on page 4, it says, trial of 500 terror suspects opens in Abuja, and the writer says, one jailed for 10 years. And on page 4, it says, Zenith Bank posts 1.26 trillion naira profit before tax. And then on page 7, it says CBN to recapitalize BOI, BOA, DBN, others. And that's on page 7. And it says here, Edu, Nigerians strong to withstand shock, gains of war in Iran. And the writer says oil production now 1.84 BPD. Our position good, says CBN. Okay, fingers crossed. And the Star story reads, ADC crisis, David Mark led NWC state chairman clash. And the writer says, we commend INEC for delisting Mark. Others, Abdullahi party will contest election. Okay, a little bit of topsy-turvy happened in the ADC, but let's see. And here it says, Tinubu's visit, how Lagosians can avoid traffic by government. Really, that would be a step in the right direction. Have you seen the traffic in Lagos? In Lagos, it's bad. Like where you're coming from going from the mainland to the island, it takes you hours. So that would be good. And then moving on now, at the foot of the paper, it says, pension assets hit 29.43 trillion naira in February. Chakarao, Yusuf in talks, and that's on page 5. And basically, those are the major headlines on the Nation newspaper. Just go out and get yourself a copy and be well informed on the issues making round. Next, we have The Guardian.
All right. The Guardian has 3 headlines just beneath the nameplate. Top left first, picture of the president of the World Bank. It says, oil windfall. World Bank cautions federal government against profligacy. I'm afraid that caution will hang somewhere in between because this electionary period and politicians know how to do what they do best. But a word they say is enough for the wise. Angry women halt mass burial in Angwan Rukuba as death toll rises. That's a sad story coming out from Plateau State. CSOs decry worsening poverty despite over 100 trillion naira budgets in 2 years. Middle East crisis exposes costly weakness in Nigeria's cloud economy. Nigeria's cloud economy problems, fragility exposed. As is always the case, the Guardian newspaper has done very, very brilliant work here with a beautifully laid out infographics right on the front page of it. But let's take a look at some headlines on the right corner of the front page still. NAFDAC links hypertension, stroke, epidemic, others to salt intake. Should we stop salt now? These days, rice doesn't taste same for me because my wife has stopped salt.
And it's funny enough, a nutritionist came and he tried to give this workshop on why it's not necessary. It's because that is what we are used to. Normally, if we started eating rice without salt, we'd be used
But
to
now
it.
we'll be accustomed.
Yes, exactly. So now that's the problem. If
Right.
there is no salt in the rice, it doesn't
Tastes
taste
different,
nice.
yeah.
There's this taste, but really, it's
So what
unhealthy.
other ways can we season these things? Or
There-
are you supposed to be eating without seasoning?
No, they're natural season. You can use mushrooms. They're things like turmeric that are natural. Turmeric,
They are healthier.
They are healthier and better. They say the condiments that we use, they have too many. There are too many processed
In salt.
So we hear when it comes to these issues. But
Right.
there's some things you can cut down or use very minimal. It doesn't have to taste so much that
Right.
just a little bit and you're good. And that's a healthier way of eating when it comes to things like that. And it's worse when there's some people that when you're done cooking, you add the salt.
Salt to it.
It's so dangerous.
Right.
Once you're done
So
cooking,
I want it to taste nice.
I want to taste. You're right. But for people like you that don't know how to cook, it's okay. We understand. It's fine. We forgive
This
you.
is not my judgment day. I'll let you know when that day comes. But interestingly, my people have an adage that says you don't have to prove you're a rich man or that you're wealthy just by eating an entire bag of salt.
True. Very true.
All right, away from salt now. Bandits kill 6 in Bauchi community as groups raise alarm. Again, South Story with details on page 30. Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors suspends planned strike as Shetima intervenes. Ogun doctors comply. UN Chief hinges Africa's food security and Dangote global partnerships. ADC crisis deepens as new faction usurps party leadership. Backs INEC. That has a picture of Dumebi Kachiku, who was the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress in 2023. So the battle has just started, really. National Police Day, Tinubu underscores intelligence gathering as IGP salutes fallen heroes. Our security correspondent, Kikalama Okere, was on the ground yesterday to cover that very colorful and intriguing event for us. Chaos as rainstorm damages Abuja transport project. Juma and I mentioned that in passing just a while ago, but then you can read up details on page 8 of the Guardian newspaper today. Let's move to our last paper this morning, and that is the Nigerian News Direct.
All right, now the Nigerian News Direct, the Star Story says World Bank urges federal government to shun blanket subsidy support vulnerable. And this writer says encourages CBN to tighten monetary policy. And below that, it says here, Naira resumes post-holiday trading at 1,383 Naira per dollar. And that read you will find on page 12. Now, on page 20, it says ADC State Chairman back INEC's delisting of David Mark-led NWC. And on page 17, it says Oshun 2026, APC appoints Wale Oke as campaign DG. And it says here, rainstorm destroys Abuja bus terminal, triggers gridlock. Yes, and that's on page 17. And basically, those are all the major headlines on the Nigerian News Direct. And unfortunately, that's the last paper on the newspaper review segment this morning. Go out and get yourself a copy and be well abreast. And let us note that Global Television crew have no input whatsoever when it comes to the editorial judgment of these papers. They were read just how it is published. And at about this point, this is where we draw the curtain on the newspaper review segment. Up next is Social Buzz with Ogochukwu Mobono. Let's see what's happening in the social media space. Do not go anywhere. Global Morning continues shortly. Stay tuned.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
At Wichtech Cables, we don't just make cables, we deliver excellence. Our products are built with advanced technology, trusted for their unmatched quality and durability. With a wide range of cables, swift delivery, and continuous innovation, we stay ahead of the market demand. We are proudly Nigerian, fully indigenous, yet world-class. Backed by a professional team, strong technical support, and a deep commitment to customer satisfaction, Wichtech Cables is more than a brand, it's a promise. Wichtech Cables, quality cables better than the best.
In an age of breaking news, you need a trusted source that prioritizes accurate, factual, and unbiased reporting. This is AM News, and I am Ubong Usoro.
On Global Television, our news is rooted in verified and authoritative storytelling that keeps you educated, informed, and enlightened on all the issues that matter to you. I am Sadia Yakubu. This is Midday News.
You can trust our multi-platform news broadcast real-time and fast-check stories for all the big local and foreign headlines round the clock. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. This is News Express.
Our array of anchors delivers the news to our teeming viewers, breaking it down with context and perspective. This is News Cycle on Global Television. I am Anieti Patrick.
And the flagship news is your hub for the day's most engaging stories. This is News Prime, and I am Jumai Manson.
Did you miss any of our news rounds? No worries. Catch up at 10 p.m. and midnight, 7 days of the week. I am Mukhtar Kasim.
Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We're active across all social media platforms at Global TV NG.
Global TV News, accurate and unbiased. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe.
Social media speaks. We listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation. Share your thoughts and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Good morning, Nigerians and viewers around the world. It's time to look at buzzing issues on social media, and today we're looking at the power sector. And yes, President Ahmed Tinubu signs off 3.3 trillion debt settlement plan. The debt is mainly owned to electricity generation companies, which have struggled due to unpaid bills over the years. This has affected their ability to produce enough power. By clearing this debt, the government hopes to improve electricity supply across the country, reduce frequent outages, and stabilize the power sector. Officials say that the move is part of broader efforts to fix Nigeria's electricity challenges and make the sector more reliable for businesses and households. Although after we saw this in the news a few days ago, a shocking report came up yesterday where the morning show anchor, which is on Arise, posted something on X, insinuating something when he said, he actually posted this picture when he said this same 3.3 trillion naira was actually loaned to, finance debt to in this same power sector. How come we are having it happening again? And, some persons were speculating that it's more like the borrow from Peter to pay Paul kind of, thing. When he said we have funded, he said we have funded the power sector with 3.3 trillion naira. So how come we are using that same amount again to pay for debt? What exactly happened to the 3.3 trillion naira that was used to fund the power sector in 2024? This is something we are going to be discussing this morning. So let's take a look at some comments from social media as regards this particular report. And the first comment is coming from Mr. Life. Mr. Life says, this is so unfair to loot such amount of money in a country where people are dying of poverty and hunger. Okay. Is that looting? He is putting it somewhere, which he has said is the power sector. But the problem we are having here is you funded the power sector in 2024, just 2 years ago, with the same amount, 3.3 trillion naira. How come you are borrowing to help again this same power sector with this same amount of money? What exactly is going on that we do not know? Second comment coming from Safia the builder, and Safia says, only in Nigeria can trillions solve problems on paper, while generators solve them in real life. Last but not the least comment, same Safia the builder says, honestly, you have to admire Bola Ahmed Tinubu's consistency. Same solution every year, same darkness every night. Okay, this seems a bit sarcastic. Should be sarcasm, I guess. Not everyone can maintain the level of balance. All right, thank you so much, everyone who dropped their comments today on the show. So we're going to be talking about the power sector because in recent times we've seen the national grid collapse more than it has ever been, and also we've seen the power sector really reduce. We've seen that so many persons are even complaining. Some persons say, okay, they remove them from the band B to band A, and yet it's more like it's even worse than where they were before. So you get more money, you pay more money, but yet you get less value. So these we are going to be talking about. We also saw that the Minister of Power, Adelabu, came out one time to say, you know what, this whole thing is beyond my capacity. And this made a lot of Nigerians go wild by saying, how can a minister come out to address the public? And one of the things he said is, this is beyond my capacity. It cannot be beyond your capacity because you signed up for this job, and you should, create something like solve the issue, and nobody wants to hear a thing like that. But now we're seeing this particular debt of 3.3 trillion naira, or loan, by the way, of 3.3 trillion naira just to service this same sector that they funded 2 years ago. Well, I'm not alone today in the studio. I have with me Uyi Abomofwebe. Good morning, Uyi.
Good morning, Ogochukwu. I chuckled a little, but good thing is it didn't go on air. The whole time you were talking about what you said was credited to Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu.
So we are going in circle with this whole national grid light thing. power sector. It's happening like every day, and we see money being pumped into this particular sector. In 2024, we saw it is there in the papers. We saw that in 2024, this same amount, 3.3 trillion naira, was put into the same power sector. And now, just 2 years after, we're seeing the same amount being used to service the debt of this same power sector. What exactly is going on? Are we not getting anything from it? Why do we still having issues with our power sector?
Okay, so we need to deal with this, Ogochukwu, from a place of facts and figures. Then we also need to now look at the, if you like, remarks coming out from key, critical stakeholders in the sector. You and I, and like every other Nigerian, are more concerned about distribution. You want to go home tonight and you have light in your house.
Yes.
Same for me, same for everybody watching the program right now. But the challenge is there's a chain in the sector. So from the bottom, you start with generation. That's why you have the GENCOs, generation companies. The layer above that is the transmission companies. And then the third layer, which is the one that directly connects us to the sector, is the distribution companies, the DISCOs as we call them. I don't know what the number is now, but I know as of 2-3 years ago, we had about 11 of them, That's what we have, the ADC, yes, the ADC, the BDC, and what have you. So those are the guys that push electricity, so to say, to homes, the reason we have light. But they must rely on transmission and then before that, generation to be able to distribute light. So they can't distribute what has not been transmitted. Transmission cannot also be functional without generation. Now here's where the problem is. The 3.3 trillion naira we're talking about now is about the generation companies. It's not even about distribution. Now the generation companies are saying that, look, we have distributed power. We have generated power. We've pushed the power down to transmission, right? And we are owed for this. I'll give you an example. So a couple of weeks ago, the Executive Secretary of the Generation Companies Association was here, Dr. Joy Ogaji, and she talked about how that the issue is complicated, and the federal government, she says, is complicit in that complication. Now, fast forward to just 2 days ago, at about dinner time, I called her up, all right? This was on the phone, and I spoke with her about some of the developments, just to give us an idea what exactly is happening, on the back of these 3.3 trillion naira we understand the federal government under President Bola Tinubu has approved. And she said, look, what has been approved now is even laughable, because before now, the government has said it was not 3.3 trillion, it was 2.8 trillion. So let's be clear. Whatever the government, the federal government that is has approved right now, is supposed to be for debt settlements. It's not even an issue of what you are investing in the power sector.
How come she's saying 2.8 and we are seeing...
We are getting there now. So she's saying that the government has now said it's 3.3 they are approving. But the GENCOs themselves, the business people, the companies within the generation space say that, look, what the government is owing us is in upwards of 6.5 trillion. So the argument for them becomes that, look, the federal government is still scratching the surface. They have not told us what exactly they owe us. And GENCOs are saying that if the federal government refuses to pay or continues to foot drag as it stands right now, the sector will be crippled. In fact, the situation will become far worse than it is today. Now, what does that mean? Just to put it in a condensed form, is to say that the federal government, from what the generation companies are saying, owes them over 6 trillion. But the federal government, under the leadership of President Tinubu, says that from the invoice we have and from all of the harmonization that we have done, it is 2.8 we owe you. That was a few months ago. But now it has said, okay, we've taken a second look at it, we've reviewed the facts and the figures, it is 3.3. Finally, the generation companies are now saying, you call us to a dialogue, call your special advisor on energy, call your minister of power, call the head of Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, call the head of Nigerian Bulk Electricity Trading Company, call the key stakeholder, the critical mass of the industry. Let's sit at a table and iron out this issue once and for all. That's where we are right now. So on the final note, if the generation companies and the federal government cannot find closure to this issue of Ogochukwu, I can give you my word that you're going to come back here and tell us how worse the situation has become.
Okay. I'm sorry I have to laugh about it because, this whole back and forth about who is owing who and how much they are owing. It's more like, you see this transaction you have when you go to the market, you're trying to price this and price things down, to get something affordable, something that you can pay. That's what we're seeing. And for something that is this important as light, I say this all the time, like these are basic amenities for Nigerians. It's so important. You see, light, water, education, the health sector. These are basic amenities. So I don't know why we should be playing, with all of these things. If the Gencos are saying, okay, you know what, you are owing us over 6 point something trillion naira, and the president is saying, this is what I have. Can they just, like you said, can they really come to a consensus and let us know where exactly we stand? Because I know that this same thing is going to repeat itself over and over again, and we must stretch this thing till 2027. Right now, someone just told me this morning, he said, I had light all throughout yesterday night. I said, is that supposed to be news? We are beginning to celebrate just few hours of light, 4 hours of light, and everyone is jumping. You see light for 2 hours, they are jumping. Meanwhile, this is something that you are supposed to enjoy. This is something you're supposed to benefit from as a citizen of the country who is paying their tax. And we are not even talking about tax right now. We are going to face tax in 2027 officially, where we are all going to be paying tax. Are we still going to go through this same issue of failure of the grid, paying, servicing debt in the power sector and all of that? Are we still going to go through all of these things? Because this is my fear. I fear that I'm going to pay tax from the little I'm earning and still not enjoy the dividend of my tax.
I think we should add to this, just so Nigerians can benefit from understanding precisely where we are as a country regarding the power sector. Three issues I want to highlight. First of all is that yesterday on this same program, Global Morning, Priscilla and I engaged a gentleman who is an expert in alternative energy. Okay. He was basically talking about solar power. Right. And then, of course, we understand Aso Rock, the presidency, the seat of power has moved now to solar and all that. So maybe that's a message to Nigerians to say, look, the earlier you take your own destiny in your hands, the better for you. Again, that's a conversation for another time.
Of course, someone said he called, I think not ADC, but called one of these people, electricity suppliers, and said, I don't have light in my house for over 2 weeks now. What's going on? I just want to know what's going on. And the person simply said, you know what, just go solar. That's the only thing I can tell you. You cannot help it. You can imagine getting such a response from...
You're reminding me of back in the day with PHCN, where someone had gone to buy electricity units, and the PHCN office at that time didn't have light. Customers had to wait for a generator by the side of the building to be turned on so they could power their computer and be able to sell power units. All right, so I just made one point. The second point is to say that the issues in the power sector, I'm not an expert in that sector, apparently I'm not. Perhaps I know not more than a jack about it. But here's the thing. The issues in that sector are so complicated that even people who otherwise are pundits and experts in the sector have their heads spinning at this point. That's number two. Number three, and this is even the most important, is the Honorable Minister of Power, Chief Adebayo Adelabu. That's the very central point of this whole talk. He's a Nigerian politician. He has been deputy governor at the CBN. So he's not new to leadership, especially as it has to do with leading in a structured environment. However, for somebody who is a political appointee, for someone who largely nurses the ambition to become the governor of his home state, Oyo, of course we understand he has shared that in the meantime, for someone who already at least had some idea from that CBN standpoint of how badly damaged the power sector is, nothing around it now should surprise him, apart from the fact that he's now on the inside as against when he was watching from a distance. But then again, the question is, for a man who has shown clearly, let's even assume he has never mentioned, he has never hinted at it, that he is overwhelmed, super overwhelmed. The honorable thing to do is to step aside. The man has shown that he does not have the capacity to lead the power sector. The last time we had somebody who showed clearly that he could lead the power sector was when we had Professor Barton Nanji. It was under former President Goodluck Jonathan. The records are dead. Public knowledge. You can go check it out. Since that time, we've not had any individual since that time who has been able to show clearly to Nigerians and to investors and to experts in the industry that they have what it takes to lead and provide leadership for this industry. Nigeria now needs a man who understands the industry enough, has the independent thinking enough, and has the courage to turn the industry around. What we have today is a political appointee.
All right, so we've seen also the governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Oti, there, say that he wants to leave the national grid for the rest of every other person in the nation. You know what? I want to get my own grid for Abia State. This is a very huge, progress for the people of Abia State. If at the end of the day he actually realizes this. Now, my question is, what solution do you think? Do you think that we can actually, prefer to the government? What do you think can be done, to bring forth solution to this power failure all the time, national grid falling here and there?
Oh, okay, first of all, the government has to be sincere about this. The government, under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, is not telling Nigerians the whole truth about the power sector. Again, that becomes very disturbing and annoying, given that this was one of the planks on which the APC had campaigned in 2022 going into 2023. So it's only fair, it's only natural, and it's only commonsensical to hold the governments accountable in this regard. The second is we must be clear as to who is playing what role in this sector. Today, power distribution companies wake up and they say, we don't have money, we have funding paucity. We don't have funding to push our projects. Tomorrow, the next thing here is the installation, the infrastructure in the sector, they are weak. They are from pre-colonial days. We need to review the infrastructure, blah, 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 blah. The next day we say, no, we now need to go look at a model somewhere in Sweden, somewhere in Germany. Once we had Angela Merkel as the Chancellor of Germany, Nigeria did go, or of course he said he had gone into some sort of arrangement with Siemens, a German company at that point in time. Chimamanda Adichie raised that question with Angela Merkel at the twilight of her administration in Germany, and she put the blame altogether in front of the Nigerian officials. And today nobody is asking questions. Nobody is also providing answers as to what exactly happened to that deal. All right, so you fast forward to the problem at home. We must tell ourselves the truth about what's happening in the sector. But at this moment, I think the first place to start from, for Nigerians to really understand that government is serious, is for Chief Adebayo Adelabu to resign. And then upon resignation, tell Nigerians organically what the problems are from his perspective, from his experience. I think that's a good place to start from. Otherwise, you're going to bring another person who will continue this mediocrity from wherever he's going to leave off, and that's going to run the sector into the ground altogether.
Very important. Thank you so much, Uyi, for your contribution to today's topic. Honestly, you see this last line, when you are leaving, let us know what exactly the problem is organically, so that when the next person is coming in, they don't keep running in circle, or else we still have to continue like this till whenever, maybe till Jesus comes, who knows. Well, thank you once again, Uyi, for your contribution. And yes, this is where we close the curtains for Social Pulse here on Global Morning. I am Mogot Kumobno, and good morning once again, Nigerians and the rest of the world. Bye for now.
When social media speaks, we listen and we bring you the extra. It's your one-stop shop for trends, tweets, and the tea everyone's sipping on. Join the conversation, share your thoughts, and get that extra dose of what's shaking the internet.
And on issues making wave on social media to your doorstep.
Social Buzz Extra, where the trend meets the talk, only on Global TV.
Wake up with Global Morning, your daily guide to what's happening and making the rounds.
We delve into headlines, newspaper reviews, spot-on analysis, policies, current events, real talk, real issues that affect us all.
From the latest trends to the debate, every topic, every angle, Global Morning is where it all starts.
Global Morning,
For the latest issues,
always on point.
watch Global Morning Monday to Friday at 7 a.m., Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. on Global Television.
Our language, our vibrant culture and colorful tradition, our industrious and hospitable people. This is Nigeria, a nation that prides itself in abundant human and natural resources. From east to west, north to south, we sparkle, we shine, we have a common bond. Fellow Nigerians, let's do away with ethnic, religious and regional sentiments that divide us as a people. God has blessed us and empowered us to find strength in diversity. Let's make our faith and way of worship our source of unity as we build a nation that stays united. Nigeria, together today, together always. This is a public announcement brought to you by Global Television.
During campaign in 2022 and extending into 2023, the then presidential candidate that is of the All Progressives Congress APC, Bola Tinubu, had made promises as to how reforms will be driven across sectors to ensure that Nigeria moves gradually closer to where it should be heading as a country and as an economy. And that much again was reaffirmed on the very day he was sworn in here in Abuja. However, 3 years almost down the line, how far have we come? What has changed for the better between when the president took office and today? And going into the next cycle of elections, what exactly will the president and indeed the ruling APC be bringing back to Nigeria as a report card and basis on which it will be asking for votes again for President Tinubu's re-election? This morning, we're joined by someone who strongly stands behind the ideals of the Renewed Hope agenda and a very, very astute supporter of President Bola Tinubu, Dr. Oke Idawene. Currently, you are the Senior Special Assistant to the Executive Governor of Delta State, as well as, on special duties and media. You are also the Director General of Integrity
Group of Nigeria.
Right. You see, that's
Renewed Hope agenda ambassadors.
Well, it's so much, but again, that's the basis on which we're going to be having this conversation, because it's your party that's on the spotlight, apparently. All right, so Jumai, Madison, and I will engage you around all of these issues. But first of all, let's thank you for making our time to be on the program today.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me. It's a pan-Nigeria thing. It's a nation building. It's a collective responsibility.
Right.
And that's why we're here this morning. I'm okay. That one, the messenger.
Good. All right, so let's get started by asking, first of all, when you look at Nigeria today, people are complaining about the basics, not even the, if you like, the flamboyant stuff of life. They're talking about roads, they're talking about cost of fuel, they're talking about overall cost of food items and cost of living generally. How is it that, conversely, the APC still says that we are pushing reforms and we have moved Nigeria from point A to point B?
This discussion is all about Renewed Hope agenda. And the question you ask me, you're asking as a Nigerian for Nigerians, and I'm a Nigerian. So we'll take it one step after the other. Number one, what is the Renewed Hope agenda total? The summary of it. The summary of it is that it is a cornerstone policy that was designed to reposition the economy and it has a time frame, a targeted time frame for 2030 to have a $1 million economy, driven a $1 trillion driven economy, $1 trillion by 2030 to be done on deliberate growth and structural reforms. So the man came prepared. He didn't come for immediate applause. He set a target that by 2030, Nigeria will be $1 trillion economy and beyond. This is year 2026. I want to liken the president to a surgeon. He came and saw a patient in a coma. He has revived the patient from coma. The patient now is in Nigerian state. Having done so, you ask about the fuel price, you ask about the roads, you ask about generally the economic sector of as of today. For the roads, they are being rehabilitated all over the country as led by a working minister, His Excellency Senator David Umahi, who is working very effectively. In fact, they commissioned a road in the east recently and they were like, is that Tinubu or nobody? For the first time, bro, the eastern part of the country have roads. Travel to east, you understand what I'm saying? Then it's a job in process. The medical doctor, the surgeon is still in the theater, taking it. He has diagnosed all the ailments. He brought out renewed hope agenda policy that look, we'll take it one after the other because his predecessors were always having this shotgun arrangement, cosmetic measures in governance, whereby, I don't want to use the word a woman, for she will say I'm talking about women this morning, but let me just say this, please. You're a beautiful woman, so don't bother about it. An ugly woman will get up from bed. You go to social media, you see women making up. They will now use filter to do camera, put it on Facebook, on Instagram. You see a woman, wow, this is a beautiful woman. When she comes to you face to face, you see that there are wrinkles, you see that she's aged, there are pimples all over. That is the pattern the president of the presidential system has done in Nigeria. When they come, they will rub makeups in our face. That is a mirage. Now, President Bola Tinubu came and said, no, we're not going to have cosmetic measures, cut and nail arrangement on the Nigerian economy. We need to salvage the nation. We need to take it back. Then we start to crawl again, walk, stand up to walk, run, then we can fly. It's a process. So he jettisoned every other arrangement before now. And today, we are having a president who could retire a serving general and return him back almost immediately as a minister of defense, about security now. Because while he was chief of defense staff, he was able to harness all information, everything you need to do about the security of this nation, but he was being hindered because at that time he didn't have all the flair to do what he needs to do. Now he brought him back as Minister of Defense. In the history of Nigeria, it has never happened before. That's one. Another thing is that there are flashes of killings before man and God this morning. For every family that have lost a family, will commiserate with you. It will not happen again. God will give you the strength and the fortitude to bear the losses. And the president, the government of today, is working earnestly with the French government, with the American government. There are experts in town, usually at the ISWAP, the Boko Haram, the bandits, just name it, as is kidnappers and the rest at the south and northern parts of the country. Now, having said so, once again, our condolences. Having said so, it is pain. No amount of grammar you're going to speak this morning that can bring back the life of those that have been lost. The government, the president has always said, it will be better. Now, what we're talking about, I want security first. I want to say this, that as we are here in Global TV this morning, and you hear people planning evil about the environment, and you cannot tell security agents, they will not work as magicians. They will work based on information. Now, we have to be pan-Nigerian. What do I mean by pan-Nigerian? You hear a thing about your country and you report to the appropriate authority. Even the one that happened just recently, there were information that they were coming. None of these people called the attention of the security agent that will be invaded. Meaning that an insider has to collaborate with an outsider for a house to be invaded. You cannot invade somewhere you don't know. So Nigerians need to wake up that security is of line of party, is of the government by in quotes and unquote. But we need the collaboration of citizens to do better. If I give an information about this place that I want to invade it to the CP of Abuja, the person cannot invade it. True or false? The answer is true. So we need Nigeria registration agency, we need Global TV, we need other TVs to make advert that look, Nigerians give security information to security agents so that we can get a better society. However, as the government is planning to have international support and curtail all security challenges, we should be able to also help the security agent by also, I had this, I had that in the beer parlor here and there. This is what I had. They will now investigate. In fact, there are situations whereby DSS unravel or uncover planted bombs in this town because of information. Where have those gone to? We must also beg the opposition this morning to stop the campaign of calumny by using security as political tools, manipulating, gaslighting the society, and even bringing up past events that have happened and say that it is happening in Kaduna. I've seen one recently. They say it's happening in Kaduna. Where in Kaduna did it happen? Nowhere. So, and it's been punishment for false alarm. If you ask me, that's the teacher from that day. So, in terms of road, I talked about it before. In terms of food, cost of living, because the more agenda framework was to improve the living standard of Nigerians as we move on. But in 2030, to have a $1 trillion economy, that will be massive. And that's what we're working towards. So before, thank God, good news. Only last night, I know you are aware, ceasefire for 2 weeks between Iran, America, and Israel. I have prayed for this, and God has answered our prayers. I pray for that. Why? Because before the war between these three countries, petroleum prices were going down on monthly basis or at intervals. You see the petroleum. I did predict before that by this year we'll buy petrol for 600 naira. I said so last year. I don't deny what I said, and it was already sliding down to that rate when the war came up. You and I didn't plan, we didn't cause it. But thank God, as at last night, the crude oil price has fallen to $95 per barrel, as against 100 and something before now. So what we are now seeing now is that the moment Dangote and the other refineries go to buy crude oil at its lower rate, automatically the bandwagon effect, the price of petrol now will not start coming, those diving. My appeal again is that marketers, please, when it comes down, the way you used to increase it when it goes up, please bring it down. Because you see that when it comes down, you take them 2 weeks that they have not sold their own stock before they start adjusting their pump prices. God help us all. Having said so, before the war, one of my friends produces Gary in Isoko. He told me he's no longer selling Gary, that the amount is now worthless compared to what he used to sell. So he does it now for philanthropism and give to people that are close to him, because there is no point selling the Gary. He just do it and keep for himself and use it and not give it to people that he wants to give it to. Why?
Is he an APC member?
No. Okay. He's not an APC member. He's even not. He's a non-politician. Okay. So it's a political even. But he said that this rice was coming down. This price of foodstuff, we got inflation to 15%. Before you know it, the war came up, and here we are. Yesterday I was on air. I was telling people, it was a call-in program. I was telling people that how can you forget where we are coming from now because this war came. He said other countries are having cushion effect for their citizens. How many weeks ago? Go to India, South Africa, they've all increased their, if globally it is affecting everywhere, even in America.
Okay.
So right now, the living standard will return back to the way it's supposed to be and get better. Because if not for this war, they said I'm blaming the whole thing on war. War is a natural thing that happened caused by man, but when there is war, people must pay the price. And that's what the global village called Earth Today is paying for that war. But thank God the ceasefire has come. Expect to hear good news from the Nigerian system, whereby transportation will return back to the way it's supposed to be and lower. And I was surprised, I was in Delta recently, that a particular transport line did not add a cover to their transport fare. They used to carry 5,000 naira from Ughelli to Asaba. They carry 6,000 from Warri to Asaba. When I traveled a few days ago, I landed in Warri. I was taking the vehicle to Asaba. I got there and I said, how? He said the MD said he cannot punish Deltans. That man deserves an award. I don't want to advertise him here. Maybe when he pays for advert, we can do that.
If you do, we'll send the invoice to you.
Sorry?
If you do, we'll send the invoice.
I know what you can do. So you can imagine his mindset.
Yeah.
So if every Nigerian can copy that,
yes.
He was still making money. He broke even and was still making his profit, but not as it used to be. But every other person will add money times 2, times 3, where it has gone up. Landlord is increasing rent. You don't buy new cement, you don't do new roofing. Even if you renovated, it's your house. So this is part of the cost of living. That what am I trying to say? The costly factors at times, not only government, man's inhumanity to man is also a problem in Nigerian sector. Like people sang the song. He said, if you like, during the apartheid, if you like, sign the treaties, sit in the round table, do what you can. Nothing will happen to the people unless we have a change of heart towards the nation. This nation is as sweet, it's not an America. Take it or leave it. I can't go to America and leave. I will return back after 2 weeks maximum and come back to Nigeria and grow it. What am I trying to say? There's this mindset of I will jack back to where? When you are a slave, when you are a class citizen? Hey, no! This is where we are, our father's land. You must also think of what you do for the country, not what the country can do for you. That's Curtin Lincoln here.
Right,
so having said so, he asked about roads. I've talked about the roads. I've talked about security. Flashes are there, they will get better. He asked about cost of living. It's going to get better now. Thank God for the ceasefire of the war. And God will make it. It will not happen again. They will have their understanding that from the two will become permanent, that we'll have a peace now in the world so that we can get it. They are now escorting crude oil through their Strait of Hormuz. And now in fact, I'm happy, I'm elated this morning that this work will be easier for us with this petroleum issue going off the hook. Right. So, education, okay, let me allow you to ask for Governor Forte.
All right.
Economy generally
it's getting better.
Well, it's getting better. Remember, Nigerians and the world, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came with a plan that from 2023 to year 2030 we'll have a $1 trillion economy.
I think Joma had a question.
Before we get to that aspect, I want to look at governance and policy direction. Now, you made mention of the Renewed Hope Agenda.
Yes.
Now, what are the core pillars of the Renewed Hope Agenda for someone that is watching and trying to understand it all? And how realistic is it in the within the current Nigeria realities?
When you say core pillar, I have mentioned that the Renewed Hope Agenda is a policy framework to make sure that the socio-economic life of Nigeria gets better.
That's reduction of poverty.
Sorry?
Reduction of
poverty reduction. And that is why the Renewed Hope Agenda is primarily sitting on social scheme.
Okay.
Social scheme. I know that's what you want to hear now. Social scheme that I have been able myself, the First Lady of Nigeria, how they do is that they release these things from Abuja to several states through the governor and the governor's wives. They now bring in apolitically, whether you are an APC member or not, they now bring in youths, women, the less privileges to benefit from market business support scheme, benefit from training on skills, then also giving them a starter pack. We have them. We have had over 15 programs in Delta for the past 1 year. And when they are having this, they call leaders and say, give us people from your place. They have scheme for widows. They have scheme for corpers. They have scheme for fresh graduates. And these are the social, that's why Uncle Joanna, mommy, let me put the word mom because she's a grandmother, came and saw the president a few months ago and said that you are doing, but increase the social scheme. And they brought some from World Bank and they added, they're supporting what we are doing in the country. So what we are having is that why there's a framework to improve, to start all over the economic policy in the target of 2030, because these policies are harsh. For instance, remove the fuel subsidy is one of the harshest things that has happened to the history of Nigeria, political wise and governance wise. Now, people were crying, and the government has already have this renewed hope agenda. There's a world program, renewed hope agenda. The words where they give 100,000 per month to support of the poorest of the poor. This is the happen, and they are all in Delta State. They are all in other states. But my own take is that I don't know why. I don't know if they are doing it the way we are doing it in Delta in other states. Because once the presidency releases, a meeting is called and they disperse accordingly. And people, for the first time in my life that I've been in politics, I've been able to write names from my hometown, Olomoro, and I'm giving people empowerment slots. Whether they are party members or not party members, you give the empowerment slot. So if every leader or every person in their world can do this, then they will feel the direct impact of the renewed hope agenda. Now, another social scheme to support the poverty alleviation of the people. Then another thing again is infrastructural development of the country, deliberate growth, what we call intentional leadership, where the president is ensuring that every aspect of the economy is having a feel of what we are doing. If you remember, because of these strategies he's doing, for the first time we have foreign reserve that is of the highest for decades. So as we speak, it's growing gradually, faster than ever thought of. As we speak, if I mention nail phone now, you say I'll listen nail phone. Why would I mention nail phone? When my brother's children are going to school on almost free of charge. Now, I also want to appeal that very soon we'll have total free education in Nigeria. It's going to get there between now and 2030. That is what the renewed hope agenda is standing for. Now, another thing again you should look at is even youth corpers. They have access to loans now while they are serving.
But Dr. Okay, let me just come in a bit. I've listened to all what you've said.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, I said in the current Nigerian realities, and you're giving us projections that is to come. I'm looking at the now.
Yeah.
Now, with the renewed hope agenda, what is happening with the now? Does it correspond with all what you've mentioned with the now, Dr. Okay?
It is corresponding with the now.
How?
Because I said I've likened the president to a medical doctor, a surgeon in the theater.
Okay.
He has diagnosed the ailment. He has diagnosed the part of education, diagnosed the part of economy, diagnosed the part of infrastructure, and now they're taking it one after the other. Will you not say that Abuja is where it used to be?
But
the answer is no.
Dr. Okay, let me come in again and interject again. Now, someone out there who is listening will say, Dr. Okay, we've heard all what you've said, but as we speak now, there's still a lacuna when it comes to the educational sector. There's
lacuna like what?
Wait, let me learn. I heard you. Yeah. And there's still a lacuna when it comes to health sector, which of course there was a particular, they just turned up, they called off the strike yesterday because there was a roundtable.
Kudos to the president.
Okay. And then they will tell you there's still a lacuna when it comes to high cost of transportation. There's still a lacuna when it comes to the power sector. There's still a lacuna when it comes to transport, inflation, all of these things. There's a huge lacuna in poverty, despite the fact you spoke about the skills. But the individuals in Nigeria are still feeling the brunt of the issues that are on ground, despite you talking and the appraisal of the renewed hope agenda.
I did say here this morning.
But you're giving us
that
projections.
not projection. that when you remove the fuel subsidy,
yes,
the petroleum price, pump price skyrocketed. Then instead of having deliberate renewable agenda policies, the framework started taking it from the cradle. Gradually, the dollar and the naira destabilized through the policies, and at the end of the day, the fuel price came down from 1,500 naira, 1,004, 1,002, 1,900, 800, 740, 730, until this recent war. So I have already answered you that it's work in progress. You listening to me or watching on, it's work in progress. Now that there is ceasefire, allow the relief group to get back to work, because there is what we call bandwagon effect in the economy. Once the OPEC prices sneezes, our economy sneezes, because we are more reliant on energy from the petroleum, from the crude oil products. So as we speak, it is not projection. I'm telling you, you agree with me that from the increment of the first time when he assumed power, it nosedived drastically. Even inflation came down, food stuff started coming down, rise from 120 became 60,000. I know it was the first remover that took it to 120, but meaning that he knew what he did. He removed that so that we can, don't forget that we also have more money now to spend at local government level and the state level. You're forgetting that. So if he had not done that, where governors, my governor, my inspiration, my immediate boss will tell you, okay, there is money, and we will spend it for deltas to see. Look, Delta State. So these are also the handiwork of the deliberate attempt by the renewed hope agenda, where I am a proud ambassador.
But I want you to understand, Dr. that Delta State is not the only state in Nigeria.
You don't get me. You don't get it.
I don't.
Let me borrow the word lacuna. When there is a leadership lacuna in a state, all governors sit up. There is money in your state. Work democratically, give democratic dividends. Do your own scheme. My governor have empowerment support for the Renewed Hope scheme. We call our own Renewed Hope for More agenda. Why? Because the more agenda is what we have in Delta, the Renewed Hope. So we blend it up together. When you say APC, we say Renewed Hope for More agenda. What is the more agenda? M, meaningful development. O, opportunity for all. R, realistic reform. E, enhanced peace and security. My governor already started building police stations for the state police. We are creating already. The government wants to create. It's ahead. ESCOs have approved that. They are already building police stations. So what am I trying to say? They are all governors, and we are not every governor has its own allocation. Has been in the national convention. I said it here. The governor of Delta State said no regrets in going to APC because it is far better than the way it used to be. The question is, one, I'm using my state is that politics is local. I've used myself as a template to always talk. I speak reality. The white I wear signifies that when I talk, I say what I know. So I'm going to tell you that if Delta State, everybody is singing the praises of the governor, they are applauding him, what happens to the next state neighbor? What happens there? What happened to northern part? What happened to southern part? Look at Abia State. I'm not going to talk about him, Oti. People are also applauding him. The same thing. So what am I trying to say? The president will say, hold your governors accountable. Hold my local government chairman. Now they give budget of 25 billion, present budget of 34 billion, present budget of 15 billion. One of those 15 billion yesterday. No government chairman. Since when have you had that? That is the work of the renewal agenda as led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That presidential system must work in Nigeria. Let people have access. No more jack accounts, direct payment to local government. If the president has even done that for you and I, it's not enough to ensure that we support him. Where you can knock at the local government chairman's door and say, look, oh boy or madam, the allocation you got last month, what did you do with it? You have the right to ask him or her. It does not say, it does not speak well, you make it public, and it does not return to governance. Pick somebody else to lead us. Because right now, they are having so much money, local government and state government, to do what they need to do because the president is not being greedy about the entire cake coming from the Nigerian system. Let it be. What happened now? The first remover that he did is what we are benefiting now. It will only be better if governance at the lower level can really face reality and say, look, this is presidential. Like, for example, NEPA. Sorry, lights.
Power.
Let me use, I'm a local boy, so everything is NEPA.
No, you're not.
So when now they have removed power generation from exclusive list of the presidency, that every state now can generate their power. There's a blueprint in Delta we're working on right now. Then only a few days ago, the president approved the payment of 3 trillion naira
for Gencos.
For Gencos,
which is controversial.
When you say controversial, let us have it first.
Okay, so you go ahead with your commentary.
Yes, because when you say controversial, the aim is what I'm talking about here. The intentions is what I judge. The intention is that to ensure that power generation gets better and we can have power over our head, because power is one of the major problems we have in this country. And now a minister that was appointed come to apologize that he will do something in a few weeks. That's failure
2
on the
weeks
part.
per se.
I just said a few weeks. That's a few weeks. That's not heard of. And I know that he's working, though, but on that aspect, the minister has to sit up, because you were appointed to oversee a ministry and give us light.
You just said that's failure. Do you
That's failure on the part of the minister.
You think the minister has failed?
The minister has to wake up. He has to wake up. I'm not going to hear.
He has been there. He has been there since. Just a second, Doctor. Okay. Chief Adebayo Adelabo has been there. I mean, he was inaugurated alongside the other ministers on the 21st of August.
Yes.
2023. So this is more than 2 years down the line.
Yes.
Has he been sleeping the whole time? Because you say he has to wake up.
He has to wake up, because at times I'm not giving excuses for him.
No, you can't anymore now, because it is all out there in the public.
What I'm here to say this morning is that the minister has to wake up. It's a call, it's a clarion call from me as a Nigerian, not as an APC member now, that we need light there, right now as we speak. And that time when the president has intervened and said, look, this is the challenge.
I've been moved also rock to solar power system.
See,
exactly.
I'm not here to discuss that.
No, you've got to now, because you're a member of the APC.
What I know,
ambassador, a very prominent one of the Renewed Hope agenda.
Yes, I am. Now, what I know is this: let Nigerians have light. That's my concern here. What we need to do
from the national grid or from solar?
From national grid,
which the president is not on.
From national grid.
Is that leadership by example?
From national grid.
The father of the nation is
from the national grid.
Children.
That's talking for another day. All the time. From the national grid, let there be light for you and I.
Excluding the president
and the entire
and that's all.
We have the Tatari line right now. People are getting light in Abuja from the Tatari line. Light is still on, though it's more expensive.
Have you been to the fringes of the city?
Exactly.
I just told you now that improvement of light is one thing we must hammer on. And wherever I go to, I always say we need light, so that the cost of production of some things, barbing your hair, production of your businesses, you get businesses, small scale and medium industries that rely solely on light, needs light, so that even the cost of production can be lesser, they can make more money and can even sell cheaper services to you and I.
People can actually
it's not a rocket science. It's not a rocket science. For me, the energy power sector needs to have an emergency declared state of emergency.
So do you think Chief Adebayo Adelabo has the capacity to pull that off?
I'm telling you, no. If I am appointed a minister, I should do what I have to do. Keyamo is working, for example.
No, I want to talk about aviation is a bit elitist compared to power.
If FCT is working, Abuja,
right?
Umahi is
and nobody is fighting that. Even people who do not agree with Yes or Wike on certain issues agree that the man is working. So that's
I try to make a comparison here now. Umahi is working on the roads as we speak. So what am I trying to say? Other ministers here and there, they are doing the one they can, but the power is glaring, and Adelabo need to sit up.
If you were President Bola Tinubu, what would you do about Chief Adebayo Adelabo at this point in time? If you were,
I will sack him.
Great. So let's go to the next one because I recommended that earlier this morning on the program myself.
So do you agree with me that I'm truly the messenger?
No, that's not the point. The point we're making here is, you see, leadership, they say, is by example.
It's by example.
And the pressure is not only on President Tinubu, it's going to keep mounting as we inch closer to the election.
That's true.
But I want to ask you something about your party, the APC. I know you're not here to speak in the capacity of the spokesperson. If I wanted that, I would try to...
That's my other brother, Felix Moka.
I'll talk to Felix Moka. But let's now talk about your party. Does the APC care about image, issues about your brand, as it were, as a political party? And more so, hold on a second, the ruling party. There are several things that happen within the APC, sometimes directly with the presidency, in some cases squarely with the president, and the APC seems to wave it off. For example, the president was in Jos, Plateau State, a few days ago. He gets to the airport, stays there for a few minutes, and the president does not go to where people's lives had been battered, which was the primary reason he had come to town, for example. And the APC has been spending time and money and energy trying to explain it away, trying to do damage control, even though so much water has gone under the bridge, as they say. Dr. Oke, I mean, talk to Nigerians about what exactly the APC is not getting in terms of feeling disconnected from the people.
When you say we're not disconnected from the people, we are not. I want to disagree with you on that. We are not disconnected from the people where we have 31 states with us as we speak.
You mean the individuals who are pursuing their own political ambition?
No, we are not individuals. My government not move alone. It was a movement of Jah people. Exodus. We moved into where we are from where we were, and now we are seeing the light in the APC. Why I say we are seeing the light is that the president, the Renewed Hope agenda is at the right course for Nigeria. So we're not disconnected. We are not perfect yet. We are not there yet, but it's a work in progress. So you're not going to say that we are disconnected. Our image is intact, and that is why even others may join us before the election. Because
so you're not done with the
we are not done with harvesting. We are still, it's a season of harvest. So if when you turn an honey on the ground, ants that are called honey is sweet. Honey has good flavor. It's attractive. That's what you are seeing.
So ants find it appealing.
It's appealing. That is what president represents. President Baba Obasanjo said, if you want to talk about strategic governance and political matters, I give it kudos to Jagaban of Africa, which is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's a strategist who knows what he's doing, and I want to tell you that we did not disconnect from the people. What you have are lies, emotions, sentiments from the opposition on the street, trying to call a dog a bag in order to hang the dog, and it will not be possible. That is why we, the ambassadors of what we stand for, we keep telling the people what the government is doing, what it wants to do, what it should expect. It should expect nothing less than good governance. That is what I personally stand for. I'm not going to be here. For instance, I told you, if I am the president, I will sack the power minister. And that is the way it is as an individual. I don't have to sack the power minister. I'm going to tell you what I feel should be done. And he knows what to do at his own wisdom. And I believe things are being done in the power sector. And every other sector that you feel, or I feel that is not doing very well, like I said, we are not 100% yet. We are still work in progress. The $1 trillion economy was achieved in 2030. Inshallah. So having said so, we are not disconnected. Nigerians, we are coming to you with more social scheme in the next few weeks or few months as we move on, because it's part of the Renewed Hope agenda. And also, if you have indigent students, go to where you can apply for loans to go to school. Also, if you have any challenge in where you ask regards roads that not be rehabilitated, you can raise your voice and it will be attended to. David Umahi's number is on the public domain. It can be called upon. He has had arguments with people before and they resolved them. So every minister needs to sit up to consolidate what the president is doing. Every governor needs to sit up to do their state the way they ought to do with so much money they are getting. Every SGA chairman needs to sit up to also make sure that they utilize democratic the money they have for democratic dividends for the people, so that the head can at least rest and be focused.
All right, Dr. Oke, I want to ask you this question as a Nigerian and, of course, as an APC member. Let's tilt towards the area of insecurity in Nigeria. Do you think there have been measurable progress in tackling insecurity in various regions in the country?
If there's no security, I will not drive to this place this morning. There will be anarchy. There will be total survival of the fittest.
But that depends on where you drove from.
Exactly.
I am telling you this because I did say here some weeks ago that as I'm here, I travel by road, I travel by water, I travel by train, I travel by air. Let me leave the air out of it. The road, I have not seen one challenge. And at times at night, without escort. Take it or leave it. I can show, I can prove, I can quote the times and times I've traveled by night in this country. At times, it's just to put my life on the line to see what people are saying about security. These emotions, I can't buy them. If there is no security, at night from Lokoja, from Abuja to Okpela, there is 1 kilometer soldiers stop at night.
So how then do we hear of kidnappings on that same stretch of road?
When last did you hear of kidnapping on that road? Now, where there is a flashes, it is addressed immediately. I'm not telling you what happened outside my eyes. We're having a program on the 13th here now. So people will come by road, some will come at night. I may bring it to you in this studio. Let them come and testify what happened in the road as they were coming. Because we're having 36 states coming into Abuja. On the 13th, here in Abuja, few will fly, majority will come by road. They will arrive safely. Recently, they came for a convention. How many people were kidnapped on the road back to convention? Did they use police escort? The answer is no. Go to Utako, we can drive out now. From 3 p.m., 4, 5, 6, my sister, you will see vehicles loading to travel throughout the night to the following day, to Lagos, to the east, to everywhere, to the upper north. So what I'm trying to say is that I understand that once in a while, can you really remove insecurity anywhere in the world, even in America? The answer is no. You can only reduce it drastically to a minimum barriers level. No, to this end, I'm telling you now that security has improved since General Musa came as Minister for Defense. He has taken over the Ministry of Defense, and all the security agents are working in synergy to ensure that we have a better society. So if there is no security, there will be no Nigeria. All you need to say is that we should improve on it, whereas the government is doing that already. When people will just say that there's no security, can you move? Can you sniff? You will all be dead. Your house will be a target. But today, you can't do that because we are getting it gradually and we're coming out of the woods security-wise. Security is getting better. It's still work in progress. It's still part of the New Hope agenda in the 2030 target. But right now, I want to tell you that security is being worked upon. The NEPA airport issue you talked about, a father of a nation has his own plan. And he has done what he felt is the best at that moment. I, as a son, as a Nigerian, will not be here to say contrary to what he has done. What is important? He showed empathy to that particular woman who heard her son, and the video went viral. And he even mentioned, I can't remember the woman's name now, but he mentioned the woman's name and mentioned the son's name. The Nigerians don't see that. It is he went to the airport and returned that they're talking about. The man, the president of the country, remembered the name of the late son and the woman and said, no matter how much you will be paid today, you cannot bring back the life that has been lost. We will ensure this will never happen again in Jos or any other place in the country. That's the president talking. If he had not gone to Jos, they will say he went to England, London, or he went somewhere else, UK, or he went this. Now, he cancelled a particular trip to go to Jos. Today, whether you like it or not, there is already packages to support, once again, condolences to those that lost their lives. My National Secretary of Technical for Nigeria lost a cousin in that incident. And two, then even in Borno, one of my national high schools lost 2 brothers in Borno. So you see that it's not as if we are not feeling the effect. Like I said earlier, when the security information give out to the security agent, because when it happens, if you throw a stone into the market, your mother is in the market, your father may be there, your sisters may be there, your friends may be there. The attitude of not raising alarm when you get security challenges coming is like throwing a stone into the market. Because if I hear flies, I will contact the nearest police or DSS. How many of us have these numbers to display every day in the domain, in the public domain? As people, they say, forget it, Nigeria is not going anywhere. Nigeria is going somewhere. All these are negative talk must stop. That is why programs like this are being made. We are not here. What you are doing is good because this is nation building. Tell us what the government is doing, which I am saying. Where we are going wrong, we are accepting and thinking that we're going to get better. Nobody is telling you that it's a heavily bound packages. No, it's only God that is perfect here. Every human error will be corrected deliberately to ensure that the new hope by 2030, by the grace of God, we shall have a $1 trillion economy. Security-wise, health sector, roads, infrastructure development, deliberate growth, massive improvement in all aspects of this country. Like I said, me, I go nowhere. I remain here in Nigeria.
Fantastic. Now, Dr. Oke, I want to look at economy and cost of living. Now, what deliberate steps has been taken to improve local production and, of course, reduce the dependence of imports or importation?
That's a good question because in our school days in economics, they said importation is a leakage, exportation is injection to your economy. So the direct foreign investment, the FDIs that the government is doing is good. Its recent trip abroad to the United Kingdom and other countries is to improve on foreign direct investment so that to bring injection into the economy. Now, the policy framework is also being done to ensure that we encourage local production. We encourage the farmers. Now, you are coming back to power again now. Because you cannot have local production without power. The question you asked now is also indirectly asking me, what are we doing to encourage local production, which is no country can be decentralized without energy, without power. And that's the truth. So it's work in progress. And I'm here, I'm not going to stay here, tell you here things that are not obtainable right now. In that aspect, the Renewed Hope agenda is working on it. The framework will get better so that we can have direct local production where fabrics can be made. Our textiles has to be revamped. Even refineries have to be revamped. The monies that were the channel to refineries that are turn around maintenance or what have you, we need to hold people accountable to tell us what happened to our refineries, where they are not working, where they are working. Dangote has come. The government has encouraged Dangote to do what he's doing. It's part of that downstream oil sector packages. Now, having said so, I want to tell you that there is one man that is a Nigerian. His name is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu Asiwaju, who this question you have asked, one of his major targets to ensure we produce things locally. And that is why he said, give me time to do this. In year 2030, we'll have $1 trillion economy. And I want to appeal for Nigerians to give him a chance. And from the day he removed subsidy, and later part, after filling the branch, he kept saying, it is harsh, please bear with me. And truly, the price of things started nosediving on this recent challenge that has come out. It's already gone now by the grace of God. So I think that when the man has said the word and he has stood by it, you give him a chance. You don't change a winning team. I asked somebody a question in the forum that show me the opposition leader that is better than President Bola Ahmed Tinubu right now. The guy kept quiet. Because when you ask them, what are you going to do different, do better than what we are doing, they say they're going to bring the framework or the programs to us soon. So you are saying that you want to take over governance, and even the manifestos you want to give us, you are not even ready to bring them yet. You are fighting and cooking up lies, wicked sentiments, blackmailing, gaslighting people to ensure that the thing that the government is not doing enough. We must not play politics to the gallery by always looking for things that are not genuine in speaking against your nation because you want power. If you get it, you can't even do anything. So I want to appeal that for now, when you not change the winning team, let the man, he's 2031, take us to the $1 trillion economy. That's my plea to Nigerians.
All right, now, Dr. Okay, let us tilt towards the youth now. Now, how has the APC, looking at the Renewed Hope agenda, supported entrepreneurship and, of course, small businesses to drive the force of job creation in Nigeria?
Yes, I've answered. When we're talking, I didn't mention that. For example, I'm a youth. By this year, I'll be 50. So I'm a youth. I'm still a boy even. So at this point in time, there are youths even as ministers in the cabinet, more than the elderly. You should agree with me on that. Meaning that the man knows what he's doing. I'm talking about the elites now. They're coming back locally. There are youth schemes we have done from the presidency. They give us in Delta. That the governor of Delta State added his own and give to youth and for youth empowerment. The youth have been carried along in my state through the support of the presidency. And likewise, that every state is having support of the youth programs in their states. I must tell you this honestly. There's a category of 28 years, 30 years to 45 years women. Those are youths. They have been empowered about 4 times now in Delta through the Renewed Hope agenda from Abuja in collaboration with the MORE agenda in Delta. So what am I trying to say here? Politicians must stop hijacking these opportunities. It's evil. Where the president's wife, who is in charge of some of this empowerment, sends to the first lady of a particular state, and they don't utilize this is for the people. It has to stop. If it's for empowerment schemes for the youth, they are being done periodically from the presidency to states. What we have is some states siphoning away these opportunities. So they must look out for those states, I don't want to mention names here, to know what is happening to the people. Because that is why it is not enough yet. That is why the world head of the DGWTO came and said, we can do more. And right now, a scheme is coming soon of the world empowerment of the Renewed Hope agenda, where each ward in Nigeria, in Central State local government, will have impact of the poorest of the poor, those that are jobless, those that are carrying out no work. Will empower them to be skillful, to have those that have business idea, to support them their business skills, not loans. So these are grants given that are not refundable. You take them and you go. Like I said, I have videos. I have taken part in these programs in Delta State.
But Dr. Okay, let me ask you a question. You spoke about grants, because yes. I know a lot about grants, because I'm coming from an association of NAOA, Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, Armed Forces Command and Staff College. I know about grants because being part of the ESCOs there. You said something about taking grants and you go without any accountability to know whether these individuals are using these grants.
No, there's supervision on that.
You didn't mention that.
Okay, sorry.
Take the grants
it's not go and eat or marry more wives.
No, exactly. So because there are times when you give these grants and individuals come in and yet there is nothing to show. And the truth is there is no monitoring team. People just say, okay, because I want to, this is what I'm doing for individuals in this particular state to show that I am working. Take your grant and you go. And there's no accountability. The individuals don't even use it for anything.
I agree with you. We need to set up a stronger team, not on papers, but practically.
Exactly.
To ensure that if you are giving $1 million to start a small business, in 3 months you should give account of what you have done.
Exactly.
In 3 months, in every quarter, they should give example. Recently, the governor of my state's son, the son's, the governor's son in my state did a program and he gave empowerment to youth. After 2 months, he went round and some have employed like 10 workers.
Fantastic.
Some have opened the biggest boutique now in Warri. Some have done a lot of things. Some are into transport lines and whatever. So I want to buy this. It's a good one. If you are give the Renewed Hope agenda, I think we need to start monitoring those who are giving grant to. Not you take Uhuru and you are gone.
Exactly.
And some will go and marry more wives. Some will go and because that's lavish the money. Some will go for social satisfaction and the rest. I think we need to do that. Accountability is one of the problems we're having in Nigeria, and we need
monitoring.
Exactly. That's why I mean accountability. And you must account for what, like I said about local government chairman. Every state, go and ask your chairman, local government chairman, ask your governors. Don't be scared. If you are scared, go to the carry your phone, go to Facebook and say what you want to say. It will go viral, and the person will address the issue. But if you have access to him, walk up to him and ask him. If he doesn't oblige, you have every right to go on air and say you have your social media to go on air. It's not expensive anymore.
But the truth
with your data, you can do what you want to do.
But the truth is, Dr. Okay, it's not about going to social media. Are you giving the right information to the public? Do not mislead the public once you're doing it. It's very important because the chairman of the local government might be working and doing a lot, and someone who just wants to sabotage.
Working is not hidden.
Exactly, but at the same time,
I was here now to tell you how the prices that the policies of the president skyrocketed issues in Nigeria, and everybody started bringing it down. So it is not, we are not in a dream, we're in reality. And pragmatism states that, say it the way it is.
Exactly.
So as we're speaking now, if your LGA chairman is working, you should know as somebody from the local government. But if you want to become malicious, that is where nation will punish you. Because when somebody is doing good, state it that the person is doing good. Because if you live in a glass house, you don't throw stone. That is my own this morning. So please, those in government, do something.
I like all of you've been saying, really, quite frankly, and we hope that this is actually the experience of a typical Nigerian. But I want to talk to you about something else. Is the APC bothered about our debt profile? I mean, we're borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. We've borrowed some more again. And we understand from the projection, we're going to borrow a little extra going into 2027. And we know what happens with politicians are borrowing around the electionary like this. I mean, you are not naive about that as well. Do we have commensurate outputs in light of what we are borrowing?
Now, when you borrow, you're borrowing with the plans you have to ensure that by a targeted time frame, that by this is what you achieve with the loans you are taking. And I want to believe that the New Hope agenda being on the right course, Nigerians not be scared of the loans we are taking to salvage, to ensure that we have that $1 trillion economy in 2030. 2030 is not far. It's just 3 years away from today. So that is why the president has to be re-elected. So I'm not campaigning for him here. I'm just saying the reality. So that these plans, we should not change a winning team. They are targeted aspects of the economy where we are taking those loans. They are also infrastructure development we're taking loans on. You should be aware now, we are doing coastal roads, we are doing roads from Lagos to Calabar, we're doing roads from Lagos to Sokoto. You get me? So all these things are part of the infrastructure development that the president has targeted. And as we are borrowing, we are also making money, don't forget. We are also increasing our foreign reserve. We are also selling bonds outside this nation, Nigerian bonds, legal tenders that we sell to raise funds for the country.
That are the treasury bills?
Treasury bills. Now, all these are strategies to achieve, in quotes, one's destination is defined. Obstacles cannot deny you. the destination of where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is taking us to is already defined. These fallouts you are asking and you're saying are part of the challenges, the hurdles you will jump, you will leap over to get to that $1 trillion economy target. Where you and I can sit down, we will still be very strong and held again, can sit down and say, yes, this is Nigeria for our dream. So the loans be taken, let us entrust that the president knows what he's doing, that I believe, and it will be utilized. And anyone that goes contrary will pay dearly for it. For those in charge of such ventures, I can tell you that. Because remember that some time ago, a president said that whatever you are doing, do it well. Because when you will be caught, don't run back to me. And as we speak, so people are crying foul play that is political vendetta. But the truth is that they are skeletons in their cupboard. He who calls for equity must come with clean hands. So my plea is that in my house, in my family, if I have a challenge as a father and my resources are being driven to a particular sector and I'm lacking here, I have the right to borrow and say, look, madam, this is where we are going to. This is the target for the loans. So let's trust the father of the nation. He has reasons for it. We trust his judgment. That's why we elected him. And by so doing, governance will be better for us by the grace of God. Even America is owing.
I think that's angle of even America is owing is where many economic analysts believe that Nigeria is fiscally irresponsible as a country and as a government. I mean, from one administration after another. For example, as it stands today, Dr. Okay, Nigeria is driving 2, some people even say 3 budgets side by side. In fact, just a few days ago, the National Assembly extended the implementation of the 2025 budget to the end of June. Is that not rascality, economically speaking? Is that not an aberration?
I will say this, that when you say aberration, no, it's already happening and it happens.
Is it a case of when you do the wrong thing long enough, it becomes normal?
No. There are times that fiscal policies, there are challenges that you may not know. Those in the heads of affairs will know. And they will look at, it's not we pray, we push for an improved budget operation, whereby we do it yearly as it goes, as the year is ending, that budget is well expended at least 70%.
By December 31st?
Yes. That's what I'm saying now, not March again. The March will now extend. And I think you know that it's part of the rot in the system that we met.
Again, we go back to the previous administration.
Yes, it's part of the rot. I must be honest with you, because there were times I was doing something in the Ministry of Finance. I discovered, years ago, that this has been a trend. And this is part of what Renewed Hope has come to correct. And when you want to correct something, you don't use, you are not in a hurry to correct a very delicate aspect of the economy. So I want to also say, let us give it to them, because the extension by National Assembly is to help us correct some anomalies.
They're not helping us. They are fixing areas where they have been deficient, apparently.
That's the help. That's the help.
Are they helping Nigerians, or they are
helping Nigerians?
They are finding a way to make up for their own failure.
Let me say this: if they have not done that, what do you have done?
Okay, maybe the question should be, why didn't they do what they ought to have done in the first instance?
Now that it's been done, let us encourage you to do it properly, so that at the end of the day, the budget, because once the budget is not being expended as projected, proposed, it affects the growth, fiscal growth, environmental growth of the economy, and it will also hinder the target of 2030. So that's why I said that let us give them time to correct this anomaly. So at the end of the day, we can have from 2027, this will not happen.
We do hope it will not happen.
The errors have been identified, and the president has given the charge to do the right thing, and that's what you're saying.
Incidentally, we're not going to ask you further questions because time is not on our side, Dr. Okay. In any case, we must realize that those who are in public offices, whether they are elected or appointed, are doing their job, and that's what they have signed on to do. So it shouldn't be a case of helping Nigerians. After all, for whatever it's worth, they've been, if you like, either elected or appointed by Nigerians. But we're saying that in the end, this system must work for Nigerians going forward. But we would like to appreciate you for coming to help us understand what's going on with the APC-led government today. Incidentally, that's where we're going to leave it.
Now, APC means well for Nigeria. Forget party now. The president.
That's you.
The president.
That's you manifesting your tendency to campaign.
The party.
All of that, Dr. Kennedy. We appreciate you.
We have been saying them since.
We appreciate your thoughts. We do. We really do.
Thank you, Global TV.
We've been talking with Dr. Oke Idawene, is APC member, Senior Special Assistant to the Delta State Governor on Special Duties and Media, as well as the Director General of Integrity Group of Nigeria. That's our program for you today. Remember that the views of our guests are their opinions. I am Uyi Agumofwewe.
And I am Jumai Manson. Thank you, Dr. Oke Idawene, for being a part of the program. Have an amazing day ahead. And from Uyi and I, we say bye-bye.